It was supposed to usher in a new era of NASCAR racing, but all the next-gen car has ushered in is more frustration for drivers and fans. From way back in the day up to the end of 2021, a car racing in the Cup Series had the same formula of a solid axle, a 4-speed manual transmission, steel wheels, and a V8. Throughout all variations of cars from the 1969 Charger to the Gen 6, they all had the same DNA, and while some eras of cars are more beloved than others, there was never too much variation in the rules. However, the next-gen car has an independent rear suspension, a 5-speed X-Track sequential gearbox, and 18-inch aluminum wheels. It even has a rear diffuser on it. This all begs the question, why? Why did NASCAR feel the need to take what amounts to a glorified GT3 car and put some stock car bodies on them? Creating a car that is such a big departure from any stock car that has come before has created poor racing in nearly every type of track except intermediates, which ironically had the worst racing historically. There's 3 main problems that prevent this car from being a success, on the racetrack at least. The first is the aerodynamics. On any track that does not have multiple grooves, the dirty air is horrible because no air will be getting to the rear diffuser where all the rear downforce comes from. And then the diffuser itself will just create more dirty air for the car behind, and the cycle continues. Even Kyle Busch, after winning the pole at Dover, said that the next-gen car is easier to drive defensively than offensively because of how much dirty air there is. This is why the cars can still put on an entertaining races at places like Charlotte, Kansas, Homestead. They don't have to run in each other's tire tracks. But on short tracks like Martinsville and Richmond, and flat 1-milers like Phoenix and New Hampshire, cars just get stuck in traffic. When the aerodynamics of a car are like this on low bank tracks, you need power and tire wear to get them to start passing again, which leads into the other 2 problems with the engine and tires. There's not enough horsepower. I'm sure we've all heard about it an endless amount of times, and the drivers themselves want more. But NASCAR will not allow it, not because it would make things expensive, but because the OEMs, the manufacturers, don't want it. I'm sure there's plenty of people at NASCAR who would love to put a 1,000 horsepower engine in these cars, but they don't have the final say. NASCAR's quest to find a 4th OEM to join Chevy, Ford, and Toyota has been going on for years at this point, and many of the ideas put into this race car stem from their desire to see new car companies compete. But as we've come to see recently, car companies that want to enter their car in a racing series can just do that in IMSA. Sure, the attention might not be as great, but the cost of entry is way lower, and they actually might get some road relevance out of a real GT car rather than from a GT3 stock car mashup. People from Chevy, Ford, and Toyota all said they'd like to see more horsepower, so what's the holdup? By not hitting a higher horsepower number and having way better brakes than any stock car before, the cars are too easy to drive at short tracks and road courses. On his podcast, Denny Hamlin talked about not being able to pass lap cars at Martinsville. He couldn't get to their back bumper because the cornering speeds are too high for Martinsville. There's too much grip in the car and in the tires. The tires have a larger contact patch than before, leading to more mechanical grip, which really is hampering the races on short tracks and road courses. I know Dale Jr. mentioned William Byron saying how much harder the Xfinity car was to hustle around COTA than the Cup car. Since NASCAR loves comparing themselves to other sports, in what other sport is a lower division tougher than the top division? There isn't one by and large. When they started the Richmond race with rain tires, the racing was pretty good because there was way less mechanical grip with treads on the tires, and the drivers had to actually, drive, and then the track dried, they put the slicks back on, and the snooze fest was underway. And I don't want to be accused of glorifying wrecks, but no one wrecks at Martinsville or Richmond anymore. Nothing really happens, it's too easy to drive. I think we as fans want to see guys hustle cars around these tracks on the edge of disaster. I never thought I'd see the day they would manage to make Martinsville boring, but by God, they've done it. And I do find it a little funny that many fans asked for more road courses over the years, and they finally added more, and the next-gen car just made them all boring to watch. It just has to be my personal opinion, but the easiest quick fix, so to speak, would be adding the horsepower back and reducing the size of the tire's contact patch by adding treads or grooves. I think anyone with eyes can see this. While I'm no race car driver, Hamlin has said as much and offered treads on the tires as a solution to lower the mechanical grip. The aerodynamics would be more difficult to fix, with the car being totally designed with a rear diffuser, and reworking the back half of the car would take more of an effort, but a lot of the guys who work in engine departments have gone on record saying that it wouldn't be a higher cost to go back to at least 750 horsepower as a starting point. And Goodyear, for all the criticism, is a huge company. They could create treaded tires if given a long enough heads up. There's other problems with the car too, like the fact that most of it is built by third-party companies and not the teams. Originally, this led to a lot of parity in 2022, but now it's all Hendrick or Gibbs. And since the cars aren't built by the teams, no clever chassis guy at a smaller team, for example, has any way to outsmart the competition. The claim that this car would lower the cost isn't coming true either, thanks to the inflation and the economy stunning the development of the newer parts on the car to begin with. And since there's hardly much practice, teams with access to the sim stuff have a leg up in the race. But that just adds to the long list of missteps by the sanctioning body. They don't listen to the teams or drivers, they listen to the TV networks, the car companies, and corporate sponsors telling them how to run their series. Unfortunately, they pay NASCAR's bills, not the other way around. This also plays into the fact that it's been obvious NASCAR has wanted to change their image to be more socially conscious. Who's to say the lower horsepower number might not be a way to come across as more green? I mean, it's already confirmed they're working on EVs, so we know they're thinking about it. But the thing is, fans don't care about a car being quote-unquote modern or advanced. They don't care for the silly digital dashes or the fact they have a rear view camera rather than a mirror or an independent rear suspension. They want to see good racing at the end of the day, and this car does not provide it like 80% of the time. While NASCAR may have driven away lots of fans with gimmicks like the chase, the cars up until the end of 2021 more or less stayed the same. It was still a big hulking V8 with skinny tires and basic brakes, built for ovals. It was a unique race car compared to the rest of global motorsport. Unfortunately, it seems the next-gen car has become a showcase of trying to fit in with other auto racing series in terms of technology and appeasing the automakers. However, many of the problems can be fixed. It's just up to the ones pulling the strings to want to see changes. As it sits now though, as we see drivers on podcasts constantly begging for more power and better tires, it seems unlikely this trend will be reversed anytime soon. It's upsetting because most of NASCAR's problems could easily be fixed, but marketing executives have taken control instead of people who understand cars on a fundamental level. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.